Yo, today we have a newsletter post. Privacy about your goals. Times where you should keep things to yourself. And this should be an interesting one because this is more personal and I go over my own history and my own opinion in regards to privacy about your goals. And this is less of a fact-based thing and more of a my own belief and my own experience kind of thing. This subject is something that can depend on your own circumstances and beliefs. So, right, yeah. So, this is something that is my own opinion, and I'm making it known that it's an opinion of mine. And you can share your own opinions because this is just my own thoughts. I personally have been a private person for the past 4 years of my life. Maybe more, but to be honest, my memory beyond that isn't the best. So, yeah, that last statement is true. My memory isn't that great. I'm the kind of guy that would be in the friend group being told things that I used to do and being like, oh my god, I did that. And they know where I did that. Yeah, that's the kind of guy I am really. Like I a lot of the time I forget about things, but I'm getting better with time. I do believe I have been more of a private person. I tend to keep things more close to things I'm working on and just put on a face and not get too invested about my own self when speaking with others. Because it's not always about me. I think I clearly remember the past 3 years of my life because I tied my experiences to a grand purpose that I was working towards. When I look back, and when I look back now, it feels like I spiraled to where I am at, like a roller coaster ride where everything connected together to get to a point where I am now. Now that is a bit of an over exaggeration looking back at it. I don't know what mental state I was in while writing this. Was I crying a river of tears? But the point being is that I was more engaged with the things I was doing the past few years after COVID, and I another aspect of it is that I'm older, so that the older I get, the more I remember because I'm more aware and conscious of things. So yeah, and that last bit of the whole spiraling, that's just a funny way to look at it. One of the main things that I can see now that I look back is my privacy regarding my goals and hobbies. So specifically, my goals and hobbies were things that I were more private about, and that's a big aspect of one's life, honestly. I was a trader for 3 years, and I didn't share that with many people during my time because I felt like leaving it private as I was working on it. And this was my side of me that wanted to keep things to myself, and also the other side of me that thought, you know, two things. If I do great in this, then I can share it, and people will know once I'm already doing great things. And also, if I did great in it, um, yeah, just that. That's just the point. And number two, if I didn't do great in it and everyone knew, everyone would be in my business. When are you gonna come back to it? When are you doing this? When are you doing that? When I'm not involved in that atmosphere anymore. And three, I just preferred not to really share much about it. Where did I leave off? There were times when I would share my goals with other people and would feel like I maybe shared too much. And this feeling would be like, I don't know how to explain it exactly, but let me know if you can relate. I'm not speaking to you. Have you ever spoken to somebody and shared a lot of what you're doing and thinking and planning? And then when you go back home, you feel exhausted for some reason, like a mental exhaustion that's different from your normal day. And that's something I would typically feel where I exchange so much of my plans and stuff like that. It would almost give me a relief or some sort of exhaustion, and it's quite a weird feeling, and it's hard to define unless you want me to kind of break it down into another video. I break it down, and I take time to prepare a video for this subject and actually write some stuff about. But it's quite a weird feeling that that I experienced a few times. This could be due to my want for mystery and not wanting people to be in my business too much. There is the other side of mystery that I guess I wanted, was the people not knowing what I'm doing and questioning, what's Chance doing? What's this Chance guy up to? What is he? he said he does this, but what's he really doing? And how much is he? How much is he making? How much is he? Why is he doing? You know, etc., etc. And it's a bit childish, but it was something of that I did keep in mind. Also, the thing about sharing my own goals too much back then was fear of being put into a box. This means I would have another excuse not to evolve and change because because I already put the expectations out there that I am doing one thing, and because I am volatile with almost half of the stuff I was doing, it was a lot of pressure having to shift my goals. And a key thing here I want to go back to, this is my opinion and my experiences, so I'll be open to people in the comments like you know, and everyone else to kind of give me your side of things and tell me your experiences, and maybe be like contradict what I went through and kind of give advice on that side, or someone else comments their experience, you give advice to them. I'm leaving it to you guys to do that kind of stuff. I really trust you. The thing with me with that regard of things was that once you tell someone, back then when I was a trader, which I'm not anymore, I left it because it was in haram, which is the reason why I left it, but I don't really want to get too much into that stuff. But when I was a trader back then, I don't want to have the label of being always a trader, always, you know what I mean? Because I get put in a box of, when is he going to do his next post about this? When is he going to talk about this? Why isn't he mentioning this? How much is he making on this, etc.? So, and at the time I was really in a volatile, meaning I would juggle with a lot of things, and I had a lot on my hands, so I didn't really want to get put into a box by everyone else and have those expectations by everyone else. So in my approach was to not share much at all, to avoid being put into a box. I did leave the trading business a year ago, and I haven't looked back since. I met some great people along the way, and most of my time spent working on that business helped me grow out of my shell and learn about what life has to offer in the real world, outside of school and childhood. However, trading was something that wasn't suitable for me because of my religion, Islam forbidding parts of trading, and it was not something that I was truly passionate about now that I look back. It was more about making money than doing something because it helps me get closer to my passion. If I were to have made it more known / public that I am a trader, then it would have been harder to quit, because I would have thought about what other people would think about me and my choices, rather than think about myself and my own choices. To me, it is a great lesson to focus on my own life, because at the end of the day, everyone is focused on their day-to-day commitments, and if I was so busy with what I had to do that I wasn't thinking about others all the time, the same would go for other people. God, you know, I'm not going to be narcissistic, but round of applause for what I just read. I'm getting sentimental, just like I'm getting emotional just reading that stuff, because that's very, very true. And that's why I didn't break at any point reading that paragraph, because everything I said I agree with. And the key points that I derived out of this is that the whole trading matter, and the fact that it did benefit me outside of trading, because I had learned how to navigate in that business world and, you know, just the world of adults. 2, I left trading because it was haram. Islam forbids parts of trading, so I left it completely. I don't look back either. I really don't. I'm happy I moved past it. And 3, the fact that I just kind of pursued it for money, and because I'll be honest, like, the fact that I did it for so many years, like I did it for 3, almost 4 years, so I'm not gonna say that it was completely bad and it was I hated the whole time, because I really did pursue it. I know it was in my own head, I thought this was going to be it. This is going to be something I pursue as a career, and I do. But it was really just for the money, and it was really because it was the only viable option that I had that didn't require much startup, and was an easy way to start learning how to kind of make money and grow and learn a business. So but it wasn't something that aligned with any of my passions. And before I even started, I didn't define what my passion and my purpose was. So it wasn't a fair foundation to build off of. And I'm happy was able to break that off. And when I'm able to start anew with my YouTube and my newsletters and etc., I'm building on the foundation of Islam and aligning it with my passions and my purpose and my dreams, goals, those things. And last point here, which I'm thinking is last, is that the fact that, well, I'll split into two. First thing being that if I were to share it with everyone would be, I would have to give explanations as to why I quit, and have to deal with that side of things of, my family asking me questions of why I quit, my friends asking me why I quit and why I not keep going, my colleagues in the trading, just the colleague friends, people I had in those Telegram chats, on those Instagram chats, and all of those other chats, dealing with those people, actual partners that we had connections and money tied between each other. I'd have to deal with that. Well, I did have to deal with those things, but it would have been a lot more severe if more public I was as a trader and then had to quit. But if I did, I wouldn't have a choice, but I'm happy I didn't, looking back. Last but not least, the final point, which is a very essential point that I'm happy I'm learning as I grow, is that everything does not revolve around you. And we'll go over this point where I'm going to do a book insight on the 4 agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And in his second agreement, he mentions not to take anything personally, and hedging on the point that not everything is about you. And because the world doesn't revolve around you, take a step back and have a broader perspective about things, because everyone has their own life. And this comes back to that point, this comes back to that point that because everyone has their own life and they're busy, they're not going to be too invested in what you're doing. So take that into consideration and make the choices that you want to make, not the choices that everyone else will be happy with and be proud of, because at the end of the day, they won't care in not even 5 years' time, in 5 hours' time, they won't care. Believe me. Because if you believe you are a busy person, or not that busy of a person, other people are busier than you, or as busy as you. And just keep that mindset, so it stops you from being so self-centered and narcissistic about the whole thing, and being so invested in what others think. Think about what you want to think. What do you want to do? If no one else was in this world right now, what would you want to do with your life? I do believe you should have a balance between sharing your hobbies and goals versus keeping things private. One of the biggest challenges I faced during those years was not having much to talk about, because I would have to keep in mind to keep almost 60% or more of my life private. Yeah, I honestly, I actually do want advice on this, and I'm putting out there, I do want advice, is that because of how private I've became over those years, having discussions will be kind of difficult, because I'm not trying to share too much, so I'll have to kind of tiptoe around what I'm doing. And when they would ask, oh, so what's your feeling? What's filling up your time with this, or why didn't you do this? In my mind, I can't really say, but so I just say random. I just say, oh, I'm just busy. Oh, I can't really. I'm just doing this and that. And where my advice would be, well, I'd want advice. Just there's one from you, is what kind of approach would you have in this regard? Do you decide to share things, or do you decide to keep things private? One of the biggest challenges I faced during those years was not having much to talk about, because I would have to keep in mind to keep almost 60% or more of my life private. And it may have been an exaggeration, but yeah. This would leave the door to so many conversations closed, and makes my interactions more basic and on the surface, rather than enjoying talking about experiences and lessons learned. This is a big lesson for me moving forward now, and even though I'm taking a similar approach to the things I'm doing now, I plan on opening up more and more. I plan on opening up more and being comfortable sharing my goals and hobbies with others. And this is a complete different venture for me, because I'm out there now. Like, what you're seeing now is my development and my personality and myself. I'm literally putting myself out there, exposing myself. As in regards to trading, where I could just be behind the computer screen and not have to worry about being seen. And even my current job, my civil engineering job, is the same thing. I'm behind the computer screen, typing stuff down in the office, not worrying about the criticism of others or the opinion of others. But this is a completely different realm of things, being a YouTuber. So yeah, and it's a very interesting one, and I'm very interested in seeing how things continue to develop the more consistent I am. This piece is more of my own personal experiences and is all over the place. I hope that my brief explanation of my experiences can be turned into a life lesson, for you readers, for you. As much as it's been for me, just doing this video has been a bit therapeutic, just going through my life a little bit. I hope this has been beneficial to you, and I'll be interested again in seeing what you have to say. And of course, no one's watching these videos, but you will at some point. You will be watching at some point. So whatever time frame it is, put a comment. And thank you for reading, and thank you for listening and watching this video.